What if the most powerful anime fights weren't about power at all, but about pain, loss, and the choices that define who we are? Some anime fights stay with us long after the screen fades to black, not because of the explosions or the insane power-ups, but because of what they meant. These battles weren't just about who was stronger. They were about broken friendships, impossible choices, and emotions too heavy to ignore. The best fights in anime don't just entertain us. They change us. They make us cry, they make us cheer, and sometimes they even make us question what we'd do in the same situation. Today we're diving into the top 10 anime fights that were more than just fights. The moments where every punch, every tear, and every sacrifice told a story we'll never forget. Number 10. Guts vs. Griffith, Berserk. This is one of the most painful clashes in anime history because it wasn't just a fight, it was the collapse of everything Guts believed in. Guts and Griffith weren't just comrades, they were brothers in arms who dreamed of building a better future together. But when Griffith sacrificed the Band of the Hawk to achieve his dream during the eclipse, he didn't just destroy lives, he shattered Guts' soul. So when Guts finally stands against Griffith, his massive Dragon Slayer sword isn't just cutting into flesh, it's cutting into fate itself. This fight is the ultimate question. Is ambition worth more than loyalty? But for Guts, the answer is clear. No dream can justify that kind of betrayal. But here's the real question. Was Griffith's dream worth the blood? Number 9. Edward vs. Father, Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood. The final battle of Brotherhood isn't just alchemic fireworks, it's a clash between human will and godlike arrogance. Father wanted to devour the power of a god, to rise above humanity itself. But Edward Elric stood in front of him carrying the complete opposite belief, that being human, with all our flaws and limits, is what makes us strong. By the time Ed lands those final punches, it isn't just strength that's on display, it's every lesson learned, every sacrifice made, and every bond that carried him through his journey. Would you give up your humanity for power? Ed never did. Number 8. Jotaro vs. Dio, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders. On the surface, this is the kind of fight shonen fans live for. Time-stopping powers, flashy stand battles, and an unstoppable barrage of fists. But beneath the over-the-top spectacle lies a generational story of vengeance and redemption. Dio wasn't just another villain. He was the curse of the Joestar family, the vampire who ruined Jonathan's life and haunted his descendants for decades. When Jotaro finally stands face-to-face with him, it isn't just a duel for survival. It's the culmination of an entire family's pain. Is this where the Joestar bloodline finally finds peace? Or just another chapter in a cursed legacy? Number 7. Eren vs. Reiner, Attack on Titan. This fight isn't just Titan versus Titan. It's friend versus betrayer, brother versus brother. Eren once trusted Reiner with his life. They shared meals, trained together, and carried the same burden of survival. But when the truth is revealed, that Reiner was the armored titan, the one responsible for the fall of Shiganshina, the death of Eren's mother, that trust explodes into rage. Eren's punches are filled with grief and fury at the man who took everything from him. Their battle tears not just walls apart, but hearts. For the audience, it's the moment Attack on Titan makes its point crystal clear. There are no simple villains here, only victims of an endless cycle. Is Reiner a monster, or just another casualty of war? Number 6. Lelouch vs. Suzaku, Code Geass. Few anime rivalries carry the same tragedy as Lelouch and Suzaku. Once inseparable childhood friends, they dreamed of a better future together. But when destiny forces them onto opposite sides, Lelouch as the masked revolutionary Zero, and Suzaku as the Knight of Britannia, their ideals collide in a way that makes this fight inevitable. Every blow between them is personal. Lelouch is fighting for revolution, believing that only through tearing down the world can he create a new one. Suzaku fights to protect what remains, clinging to the belief that change must come without sacrificing morality. Can you fight for peace without losing your soul? Number 5. Yusuke vs. Toguro, Yu Yu Hakusho. At first glance, this fight looks like another flashy tournament showdown. Spirit blasts, raw strength, and high stakes. But Toguro isn't just an enemy. He's a teacher in disguise. Throughout the fight, it becomes clear that Toguro never wanted to simply defeat Yusuke. When Toguro finally falls, his last expression isn't anger, it's relief. That faint death smile shows us the truth. This fight was never about victory for him. It was about giving Yusuke the strength and determination to carry on as the next protector of the human world. Was Toguro a villain or a tragic mentor in disguise? Number 4. Tanjiro vs. Rui, Demon Slayer. This fight is often remembered for its breathtaking animation. The fiery Hinokami Kagura dance against Rui's razor-sharp threads. But what makes it unforgettable is the raw emotion behind it. Rui isn't just a demon. He's a broken child desperate for love, clinging to the twisted idea of family after losing everything. Tanjiro, however, fights for real family, the bond with his sister Nezuko. By the time Rui falls, fans weren't crying because Tanjiro won. They were crying because they saw the tragedy of Rui's loneliness and the beauty of Tanjiro's love. Was Rui a monster or just someone who forgot what love really feels like? Number 3. Light Yagami vs. L, Death Note. No fists, no explosions, yet one of the most intense battles in anime history. Light and L's fight is entirely psychological, a chess match played with words, stares, and strategies. Each man is brilliant, each utterly determined to prove the other wrong, and the stakes aren't just personal, they're the fate of the entire world. L represents justice, flawed but human. Light represents order twisted into tyranny. Every interaction between them is a silent duel, every sentence a weapon. Fans didn't just mourn L, they mourned the innocence of the story itself. Was L really the hero? Or just the first to fall in a war no one could win? Number 2. Naruto vs. Sasuke, Naruto Shippuden. This wasn't just the conclusion of a rivalry, it was the emotional climax of an entire generation's story. Naruto and Sasuke's final fight at the Valley of the End is so much more than fists, jutsu, and explosions. It's the embodiment of years of brotherhood, betrayal, and unspoken love between two boys who were both desperately lonely in their own way. Naruto doesn't fight to defeat Sasuke. He fights to save him, to prove that bonds are stronger than revenge. Sasuke, meanwhile, sees Naruto as his last obstacle, the one bond he must sever to walk his path of vengeance. If your best friend became your enemy, would you still try to save them? Number 1. Gon vs. P2, Hunter x Hunter. This isn't just the darkest fight in Hunter x Hunter, it's one of the darkest moments in shonen history. Gon's battle with Neferpitou is not about justice, or even about saving someone. It's about grief, rage, and despair swallowing a child whole. When Gon learns that Kite cannot be saved, something inside him breaks. In that moment, he gives up everything. His future, his body, even his identity as a hero. How far would you go if grief consumed everything you were? Why these fights hit so hard? What makes these battles unforgettable isn't the punches, explosions, or flashy animation. It's the hearts behind them. Every clash is really a collision of emotions: grief, hope, love, betrayal, destiny. That's why they stay with us long after the credits roll. We've all fought battles like these, not with swords or powers, but with people we love, people we've lost, and even with ourselves. Because the best anime fights aren't just about strength, they're about what it costs us to keep going. Now, I want to hear from you. Out of all the fights in anime history, which one shook you the most? Was it Naruto and Sasuke's final clash? Gon's terrifying transformation? Or maybe a hidden gem we didn't cover, like Ichigo vs. Ulquiorra in Bleach, Ash vs. Paul in Pokemon, or something even more underrated?